So I have with me here today to unbox and preview the latest AllDoCube tablet. This one's called the KNote, and as you probably guessed, yes, it is another Sauron N3450. Probably, maybe, hopefully the last one I'm going to be checking out on the channel. So it has 6 gigabytes of RAM, 128 gigabytes of storage, and it is a 2-in-1, so it does have an optional keyboard, which unfortunately I don't have at the moment. Hope to have it hopefully in a week or two. So we'll check and see what we get inside the box. It's well packaged up. So we have a charger and then an instruction manual that is, yes, I can see that is all in Chinese. And they have included this Type-C to USB adapter, USB 3, which is good of them to do this because the tablet itself does not have any full-sized USB ports on it, which is one of the cons. So obviously it doesn't come with a charger, or my one didn't come with a charger, and what Gearbest have done is they've just thrown in this 5-volt 2-amp charger. Now this of course is not going to be enough to charge the tablet. It requires 12 volts, 2 amps, and there's also no charge cable, which is really disappointing to see. So it weighs 790 grams and approximately 9 millimeters thick, so it's reasonably thin for a tablet. The screen's an IPS, 11.6 inches, with a resolution of 1920 by 1080, so 16:9 ratio, and it does come with this pre-applied screen protector. On the bottom there's a 5-port pogo pin. So you can see the edges here are nicely rounded. We have a DC in port here for charging. Now this is probably the charger that I should have had in my box. It's your typical 3mm, and the rating on the back of the tablet that it says that it needs is 12 volts, 2.5 amps. And then we have Type-C, which does support data, video out, and charging simultaneously, a micro SD card slot, and one of our side-facing loudspeakers. On the top we have the volume buttons, power button. Now they do feel like these are made out of plastic to me, but they've got a nice feel to them. They do not feel cheap. Then on the left, our loudspeaker and a 3.5mm headphone jack that supports microphones. On the back of the KNote, you'll notice that there's this plastic strip at the top. This right here will be, of course, for the antenna reception, but it continues around the whole outside. So the whole frame is made out of this hard plastic material, painted in silver with a matte finish to it. But then we do have this metal along here, and here you'll find a 5-megapixel autofocus camera. Lastly, on the front, we have a front-facing 2-megapixel camera, which is pretty standard. So the obvious con with this tablet to start with is we don't have any full-size USB 3 ports on this, which is a real shame. So you're going to have to use something like this when you want to connect up more than just one USB device, and that is a USB Type-C hub. Now this hub can also charge and output HDMI up to 4K 30 Hz. So I thought I would take a look at the BIOS first, and you can see that here we are pretty much locked out of it. They don't give us those advanced settings that we do get on some of the other Chinese tech that I review, especially with this chipset, the N3450. So no control there over setting, for example, the power limits. We're going to have to do the software override if you want to boost performance on this. So very basic settings here. You can change your boot order, and that really is about it. Just changing the clock and things. So disappointing. Now just taking a quick look at the screen. So fully laminated, the blacks do look a lot deeper than the non-laminated panels. It's still quite reflective of the screen. I'm having trouble with the reflections. You can see myself there reflecting away in that black there, due to the fact that it's got the screen protector on there as well. Now it's not Gorilla Glass that it has underneath this, so I tend to leave the screen protectors on as a result so you don't end up scratching that glass. But so far, touch response seems really quite good. The screen looks very nice. It perhaps is lacking in a little bit of brightness. I'll have to measure that in my full review, but at 100% it seemed bright, but definitely not the brightest. But overall, looking a lot better than your typical Apollo Lake tablet screen. So 6 gigabytes of RAM installed, and they have allocated a tiny little bit of that to the GPU, which is the Intel HD 500 GPU there. So touch support with 10 touch points, but no stylus support on this particular model. So just checking out a few things here. The eMMC it has on here is eMMC 5.1 spec, a SanDisk DF4128, and of course the Intel dual band wireless AC 3165. This is super common, and we have a look under sensors here. there's just an accelerometer, so there is no ambient light sensor at all that can control automatically the screen brightness. So on first boot here, we have almost 99 gigabytes free, and I'm just benchmarking that SanDisk eMMC here. We'll have a look at those speeds. So that's just finished up with very decent speeds here. So sequential 272 reads, and then 122 writes is very good. And the 4Ks there, they aren't too bad either. So I just checked out the speakers, and they are disappointing. It's not to be unexpected, I guess, with these tablets, because I've listened to so many and they hardly ever have good speakers. But these ones just aren't loud enough and extremely flat. But I'll give you a sample of them now. So I did have some trouble getting my typical Linux distros to work. So Manjaro didn't work, and neither did Linux Mint. They would not boot both of them. But I finally managed to use this one here. This is Antigos. This is the latest build, and it does work. So sound is working, wireless is working, but as you can see here, no touch support. So the touch screen driver, you'd have to hunt around and find that one. So it's going to be a bit of a hassle. So that's the unboxing there, and just the first look at AllDoCube's KNote. So the screen on it, 11.6 inches, fully laminated. It does have deep blacks, it has reasonably good colors on there, and the touch accuracy seems decent. It does to me seem to lack a little bit of top-end brightness. The full brightness setting is only around about 270 lux, which is I really want at least over 300, so definitely it lacks a bit there. And what is lacking is those speakers. The volume is terrible and they sound completely flat. So really they need to improve and step up on that. Hopefully in 2018 they're going to focus a little bit more on the speaker quality on these tablets from the Chinese manufacturers. So Linux support looks a little bit patchy there. Manjaro and Linux Mint did not want to boot on this. So we do have a fast eMMC on here, which is that SanDisk, but sadly it's not an SSD, so it's not as fast as other devices that have SSD or SSD support in there. They could have maybe put a slot on the back of this so you could install one yourself like we see on the laptops. It is slightly slimmer, of course, than a lot of other tablets here. It's not too bad, the almost, 9mm it had. And the build quality is decent. It's very solid and well put together. The battery capacity is 8,000 milliamp hours, which is about 30 watt hours, and that hopefully will give us at least 7 hours, but that's a little bit less than other devices there, so something else to think on. Now, of course, I can't comment on the keyboard because I don't have it. I have it ordered, but should I actually cancel that order? Should I forget about doing the full review of this model because of those flat speakers and the fact that the screen really isn't as bright as it should be? There's no full-size USB 3 ports. It is a bit of a disappointing device here. So let me know in the comments if you think I should dedicate time to testing this out fully and doing my full review treatment here, or do you think I should skip it and move on to something better here? But thank you so much for watching this video, and I hope to see you back. If you haven't already and you're new to the channel and you like this kind of content, then please subscribe. I have plenty of upcoming videos. Thanks a lot for watching.